Hi there, beautiful souls. Welcome back or welcome to The Hawk and My name is Lana Zelinsky, and I work in the spirit dimensions. As always, in all my videos or all my lives, please simply take what resonates and you're welcome to leave the rest right here. Here we are on Thursday. The schedule has been a little bit off this week. I normally do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but with the workload this week, I've had to adjust that. So I hope that to some of you can join me here this morning. Come on in. Let's make ourselves comfortable and have a chit chat here on what's happening energetically. Um, Interesting couple days coming up, energetic wise. We are getting closer to that fall equinox where we have the equal hours of light and dark coming up September 23rd. Um, this equinox, as most equinoxes, bring us in a delicious space energetically. So September equinox is the halfway point of the astrological calendar, the astrological new year. So back in March, we had the spring equinox. So now we are halfway through. So, kind of what we kind of shift into right now is we come away. You may be becoming aware of all the things that you've been working on since March, or just simply aware of where you are in your accomplishments, the stuff that needs to be done, perhaps stuff that you have completed. You may be kind of reviewing that naturally, just kind of reflecting back or thinking about what still needs to be done or where you are. And you start to feel a little bit of this mixed energy, these mixed emotions of this isn't done yet, this isn't done yet. Or the other end of it is, look at what I have accomplished. And that is both in our spiritual growth and in our physical world. Perhaps there's just unfinished projects that you're kind of mulling around, or you're kind of looking at endings, things that are coming to completion. Those are often things that come into our awareness. We are also coming into Libra season, which when you think about Libra, very simple. When you think of the Libra sign, it is the scale, and balance. Balance is kind of coming forward into our awareness, and we talked about balance early. And was it last session? We talked about balance and about how you may be feeling what's out of balance, or you may be feeling that need to put things into balance, or perhaps you've just been kind of looking at how you're spending your time energetically, as well as the physical world and how you're navigating through that. It's good to see so many of you joining me here this morning. Good morning. The other thing that's really interesting is from the 22nd, so tomorrow, to the 24th, there is an increase of energy in the energy grid. There is this increase of healing energy. As we navigate through the equinox also brings the opportunity to increase our healing and increase that, tapping into that increased energy, because nature is going through its own thing right now too. We're coming into fall harvest. We're coming into a season change. The trees are starting to change, and there's a very healing power, a very sacred power in a lot of that. So as we navigate through the 22nd to the 24th, you may be feeling this stir of emotions coming up. You may be feeling, an increase in that energy. You may be processing things that you've been working through, or perhaps things are coming into your awareness of healing that you need to kind of tap into, and or things that you need to work on. And it may be not just energetically or emotionally. It could be your physical body. You may be, perhaps your physical body saying, "Hey, I need a rest," or "Hey, I need more water," or whatever it is that your physical body is asking for, as well as the energy that we hold in our physical body. As we kind of go through the fall season, that letting go, our physical self also wants us to let go, in alignment with what's going on in our energetic grids, as well as with our seasons. And you'll notice, I'm sure you all know this, animals start, their behavior is changing. They're getting ready for a winter. So we also kind of navigate through that. We also start spending more time at home as the weather changes, and perhaps, depending on where you live on the planet, as it gets colder, we're in more. As it gets darker earlier, we're outside a little bit less, and we do start to feel that. So anybody who has a little bit of anxiety, or who struggles energetically overall, you may start to feel that shift in there a little bit as well. So it's really important to tap into this energy grid from the 22nd to the 24th. Give yourself some time in nature, just tapping into the healing energy around you. And that's something that I do all the time. Like, I mean, that's not new for me. I'm very much, I talked about this a lot. I'm very much with my grounding practices and my meditation and outside. But there's just a reminder that from the 22nd to 24th that there is an increase in the energy grid, bringing in harmony, bringing in healing energy, bringing us into that space of moving forward and leaning into those higher vibrations, leaning into those changes, and just simply working on, as always, we're always working on that allowing energy, right? It's, we never, I always say there's never a ceiling. We never, oh, finally everything's healed or everything's complete. We're always working on something. We're always kind of growing forward. So give yourself some time over the next couple days just to soak up those vibes, just to recharge your spiritual gas tank, just to give yourself that peace and that harmony of allowing a change of season. And it also kind of shifts our mindset a little bit, and because we all kind of struggle sometimes with change and allowing. We're always working through a little bit of that resistance, aren't we? So, just giving yourself that conscious, that, awareness of, I'm just going to breathe right now. I'm just going to take in the beauty. I'm just going to allow what needs to be, worked through, and think about, and this is what spirit really hollered in my ear in a loving way. Think about what you want to give your energy to. Think about where you are with that. Just kind of, if writing it out works for you, or if just that thought process works better for you, do that. But just think about, what do I want to give my energy to as things are changing around me, as we're working through some things. Where am I putting my energy at? Right? Because when we kind of lean in there, this is kind of, a really cool perspective. When we kind of give that some thought, we kind of realize what we're pushing against. We kind of have that awareness of, oh, I'm paddling upstream and I'm struggling to paddle upstream. It kind of leans us more into that allowing space, and when we lean into the allowing space, it grows that trust, right? I'm just gonna trust the journey. I'm gonna allow. This is the momentum that I want to go in. So just take a moment over the next couple days. A great time to do that between the 22nd and 24th, but there's never really a bad time to do that. Um, and just ask yourself, what am I giving my energy to? Well, because it's so important to kind of have those check-ins, and we can check in at any time. It doesn't have to be during an equinox or anything to do with astrology or anything like that. But it just kind of gives us a reason to, right? I'm just going to check where I'm at. I hope that that resonates there with you, and to be able to kind of leaning into finding that center space as we come into a very powerful healing season with energy, as the energy grid is uplifting and shifting. I myself absolutely love the equinox, and I love, the seasons changing, and I love working on my own energy and absorbing what I can that's so freely given. The universe gives us so much freely, and it's up to us to kind of lean in there and tap into. Let's have a look at some of the questions. Cheyenne, I love your curls today. Thank you. My hair does whatever it wants to do, and I just allow it. I've learned not to get in resistance when it comes to my hair, but the humidity has broken here in Southern Ontario, so I do have less frizz. So which is always, I'm always grateful for less frizz. Dee Dee, I'm finding spending time with my sculptures or giving me a lot of joy. Still working on my whimsical mockingbird and now a pick. I love that. Very, very good. So let's just scroll up to the top. And if anybody wants to comment on the energy update today, please feel free and let me know what your thoughts are. And it's good to see so many of you joining. Sonia, I definitely have been feeling a need to have more balance in my daily life lately. Yeah, and I think that's going to increase as we get into Libra season. That whole balance space is going to become a little bit louder. And when things become a little bit louder, sometimes it's the things that are out of balance, that are screaming at us. So if you're going through anything that's kind of screaming at you, just kind of lean into, is this a balance thing? Am I a little bit too far over this way, and or not far enough this way? And just kind of learning to find that balance. And it does take some effort, because we do have to function in the physical world with what's going on around us, but how we function through it is so important. I have an acupuncture appointment this afternoon. Time to get balanced. Love it. Love it. Balance. struggling to balance the kids, school, sports, and our jobs, etc. Struggling to feel the balance. Shannon, I think what will really help is if you can, even if it doesn't have to be a great big chunk of time, but if you can gather everybody up at some point over the next couple days, and I'm not sure where you live, but if you can get everybody outside together, if you can kind of go on an exploring adventure with the kids, going to look at the leaves, going to look, going down the water, just kind of having that wander, letting everybody just kind of like wander and explore, looking into rocks or finding different bugs or birds, whatever resonates with your group there. Because sometimes we have to just kind of insert that time, that downtime, because the physical world is so busy. And, you know, we're always putting more and more and more on our plate. And sometimes we just have to say, I'm just going to scrape this little piece off here, take the hour. Like I said, it doesn't have to be an entire day of something. I'm just going to take the hour with everybody and let's just walk, or let's just sit, or let's just count stars. It can be any time of the day. And I think when we start inserting that, even just once a week for 30 minutes, right? We naturally go into balance, because when we talk about kids and sports and jobs and school, everybody's in that same momentum and in that same space, and we don't insert into our schedule that let's just be calm and still, or watch the clouds go by. So I hope that helps you there, Shannon. And I get it when it comes to kids and schedules and sports. Boy, do I understand that. But it's really important, and I insert that in my household. This is the time where we're just going to sit, devices off. Outside we go, or depending on the age of your kids, they can go and do their own thing if they're old enough to bike ride on their own. Whatever it is, that they can find their own way of connecting. A lot of you is acknowledging the struggling to find resting balance, and that's really interesting, because when you think about, it's a little bit of programming. We're programmed that the busier we are, the more productive we are. The busier we are, the more success we are. We've come to this space where busyness seems to be the gauge of success, or the gauge of doing things right. We've come into that, for quite a while now, where the busier you are and the more that you're doing, the happier you are. And that's a big thing that we all have to look at individually, is why all this busyness? Why are we keep putting it on and putting it on and putting it on? I had this conversation with a very good friend of mine, I think almost once a week, and I say the same thing to them. I say, why are you taking something off your plate? Why do you keep adding more and more and more? And it's this whole busyness space that we've become so accustomed to, that we're not pausing long enough to heal. We're not pausing long enough to breathe. We're not pausing long enough to recover. So when we don't take that time to recover energetically, physically, emotionally, that's when all this chaos within, and that's, many people have asked me, why is there such an increase in anxiety and an increase in mental health? And part of it, not all of it, but there's a part of that where we have just been in this momentum of fight or flight, pushing through, that we're not practicing that time to recover. We need to recover. We need to find that balance. We need to be able to sit and just breathe and close our eyes. Body, mind, and soul. Our soul does need that space as well. And energetically, we are energetic beings. It's for me, it's a very simple concept. We came here as energetic beings, and we need that recharge time. It can be 3 minutes a day. It can be 1 minute a day, whatever you can give yourself. I really feel, we're coming into some significant healing, some significant growth, some significant energy is coming our way, and we need to be kind of leaning back into that. And it's kind of very much, when you think about, I'll use the word old ways, or ways of our ancestors. There was time, they inserted that time, right? So I will leave that there with you. Let's grab a couple of questions here. I have a little bit of extra time this morning. I don't start at 9 a.m. today with sessions, so that's a great thing. um I've been feeling pretty down recently. Do my spirit guides have any messages for me? So is that Sophie? um I just want to lean in there for a second. I just want to pause. I'm shifting gears. When I pause, I'm just shifting gears into that dimension there, Sophie. One thing that I really feel like I've got to kind of lean in there is, I feel that some of what you're struggling with and feeling down, I feel like I need to lean into your self-worth. They're pointing me back into you, into the self-worth piece. So I don't know if you've been having thoughts of I'm not successful enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not enough, because I really feel this I need to give you, you are enough, and you're doing the best that that you can, and you're putting in the effort, and I've got to soften you, I've got to soften how the perspective a little bit. I have to soften that space, and I have to kind of like, you have to be your own best friend. It has to, like, they keep putting me inward. They keep putting me with that inward space of sitting within yourself, 'cause I just see it as grabbing outward, and I've got to put you inward, if that makes sense there. I hope that that helps you. I also need to let you know, Sophie, that you are so loved and so protected and so guided. And sometimes as we navigate through tough times, we do have to kind of go through it, but you're supported as you go through it. I have to keep going here with you, Sophie. I can't disconnect from you yet. There's something very significant with the number 6. So either the 6th of a month or the month of June as being a significant anniversary or a birthday or a passing. And I just feel so much love around that number 6. I just like, I can see a heart, I can see love, I can see an embracing. And I just have to kind of give you that, lean into that, of absorbing that. I hope that that makes sense there for you. Cheyenne, I learned yesterday I apparently have lots of repressed anger, not suppressed, but repressed. I'm going to have to figure out how to slowly get out of that. You said that beautifully. You said that beautifully with, figuring out how to slowly get out of that. And, the awareness is such a huge thing for you. So I applaud you for that awareness of that suppressed anger. One thing, Cheyenne, that has really helped me navigate through heavy feelings or emotions is my whole grounding space, but I like to give it back to the universe. I don't want to hold this repress. I want to give it, and I literally visualize it coming out of my hands, out of my body, and giving it back, and not holding onto it as I process it and as I work. And sometimes, I've done that exercise 1,000 times over one issue, right? It's about continuing to just visualize it out, and so that you can take a look at it, because sometimes when we hold it, it's hard to take a look at it, right? It's like if I was to take this piece of paper and sit on it, you won't be able to take a look at it, but if I hold it outward, you'll be able to take a look at it. It's that same concept of I'm going to hold it outward, take it out and take a look at it rather than holding it in. That has helped me tremendously, so if that resonates there for you, give it a try. um Aaron, I'd love to put my energy into my greater purpose, but I need to know what it is first. Okay. So I feel, and Spirit has shown me many, many times, we are living our purpose, right? And our purpose does change. We come here with many, 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 many learning opportunities, many obstacles to work through. We come through with many purposes. So I, in Spirit, has said to me, we're always where we're supposed to be in our learning and our growth and our purposes. Sometimes, do we understand it? No. Sometimes, do we struggle with knowing what that is? Yes. But we're reminding yourself, I'm on my path, I'm in the right direction, I'm being guided through my learning, kind of helps lift that off of that need to know of exactly what am I supposed to do, because we truly have that within us, and we're truly navigating that through that. Now, putting my energy into a greater purpose. One thing that you can put your energy into that will help guide you through that is really putting your energy back into your own healing, your own growth, your own exploring with your spirituality, your own exploring in the physical world, and letting that kind of be part of the guidance system. Working with our spirit guides, every single day, I say this all the time. I talk to them. I ask them to come with me. I ask them to show me what I need to learn. And sometimes when I say that, I'll say, well, because I always want to see, show me right away. I don't, I've learned enough about the blockers, the not being able to see things head on. I've learned I don't want that anymore. I want to see. I wanna see it right away. So with that, that does come with they're gonna show me things that I may not wanna see, things that need to change, but that whether it be directions or people or you know, my work with spirit, they, you know, they will shift it that way for me, and then now I have to navigate through it. And I say that with a chuckle because sometimes that's all we can do because we're gonna be going through our stuff anyway. It's, you know, we can either take the long way around or we can go right on through. So I hope that helps you there, Aaron. Okay, so let's see where we need to go here. Whoops. There I go again. I get kind of mouse happy here. Let me just scroll back up. I went too fast with my mouse. Um, I like your upbeat attitude always. I try to stay in that upbeat. I try to face it. I'm not always successful, but I do try to face things from that perspective. And I will, and I will, and I always say to spirit, Jolene, how does spirit see this? Show me how they see it. And sometimes I can hear them laughing. You've got to laugh that off and kind of navigate head on through it. Where are we here? All right, I'm back up. Okay. Travis, after a big move, I've really been spiraling, facing some mental health issues, worried about money and relationships, and struggling to maintain positive. Any advice for me? Travis, change often brings us into a spiral, 100%. And facing, you know, those struggles of money and of relationships and to remain positive is very I need to give you permission that it's okay to feel that way. I mean, sometimes we think with positivity, we think that it always has to be how we head on things. Sometimes we do need to stomp our feet and we do have our struggles. One thing that helps, Travis, is the mindset of it. You know, lifting off the worry. And if you can only muster these words, everything is always working out for me. If that's where you can lean into, if you can just kind of go on that repeat, everything is always working out for me. I'm going to land where I need to go. Worry is a vibration that I work really hard not to lean into because I truly believe that the vibration of worry is something that brings in more of what we don't want. It's if you believe in energy and if you believe in manifesting, it also we also goes the other way. We can manifest what we don't want. So and some of these things, money, we all need it to survive here in the physical world. It's a currency that that gets us by. If you can lean into I'm working hard I everything is working out for me. I'm going to land where I need to. It things are flowing for me. When you lean into just softening the worry a little bit, you will find that things shift. And I have played with this over and over again over many years. I mean, am I swimming in financial abundance? I'm not swimming in it, but it's always coming in for me. Where I stay in that because I don't want to push it away. Right. When it comes to relationships, Travis, I need to kind of lean in here a little bit. When it comes to relationships, I do feel a settling in, but I also feel like I've got to say this to you, and if you can just leave it here if it doesn't resonate. But I really feel that I've got to put every all these relationships. I really feel have to go into their own lane, and I feel like gentle, loving boundaries are required. So at some point, there's too much crisscrossing. Either you're crisscrossing in, or, with the good intentions of trying to fix or trying to help, and I just feel right now that I've got to give kind of every all those relationships their own space because I do feel there's a lot of growth for these people in your life that they have to be able to navigate through their own navigational system, their own journey, if you will. So I just have to very lovingly just kind of put it like getting they have to work on their stuff, they have to work on their stuff, and you've got to work on your stuff. And I also feel that I have to just kind of gently and lovingly remind you that sometimes shifts are being shown to you for a reason. Sometimes people need to turn right, they just need to go and have their own experiences, and that doesn't mean that there's endings. It just means that people can't always journey right beside you all the time. I'll use my own personal relationship as an example. Whether it be friends or family, or it is if I'm going this way, people can't always navigate through that with me. They have to continue on their journey. That doesn't mean I'm not going to talk to them. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to connect with them. It doesn't mean that I don't love them. It just simply means I'm going to go and figure this out over here. And because sometimes when people are not in their own lane, or we're not in our own lane, it kind of clouds or fogs or complicates what we need to experience, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. And it can be simply, Travis, as giving yourself some time. I'm just gonna go and lay under the moon tonight, or the stars tonight, and just kind of breathe. It may be just be all that simple, but I feel like there's people in your life that are around you that kind of need their own space for a little bit, because I have to expand it. I have to expand people back into their own lanes, if that makes sense to you, darling. Um, so we need to go here. I just need a sip of water. Um, Sone, this is from Wesley. Speaking of sweater weather, I love those wearable blanket cape things. Yeah, there's something snuggly when the weather turns crisp and it gets into that sweater weather where the air feels cleaner, and it just there's that big shift there. I do love all seasons, but fall and that crispness, Wes, that you're talking about, I totally understand. Thank you very much for the compliments. You guys are so sweet. Love the fresh look. Very pretty. Thank you so much. Cheyenne. Oh my god. Wes, I wanna have those. I'd wear like three at the same time. I love that. Look at you guys. Um, a sweater cape. Is that like a wearable blanket? I'm not quite sure what a sweater cape is, but it sounds very fun. It does sound very fun. I love that. Hmm. Carrie, glad to hear about the healing energies, facing surgery to take out my lady bits next week. Um, I feel that going very well. I do feel like I have to remind you, though, and perhaps it's a bit of your personality. I need to remind you to take the time after the surgery to fully rest, to fully allow that healing. So I don't know if you're like hurry up and heal kind of person. Just enjoy that time of healing as scheduled with the healing, but I feel like I've got to remind you not to push or to rush it. I hope that makes sense there. Uh, see where we go here. Mandy, anything for me? I feel off and have been for a while, off balance. Mandy, when I lean in there with the off balance, I'm translating it a little bit different. I'll give it to you, and then you can say you can let me know if that resonates or not. Mandy, what I feel is I feel like this off balance is a bit of a push for growth. So I feel like things that have served you before, that have done really you've done really well with. I feel that you're being pushed to grow and being pushed to challenge yourself. I feel like there's been like this coasting for a while. You've been through a lot. There's been a lot of change. There's been a lot of work. There's been a lot of healing. There's been a lot. There's been a lot. I feel like there's been a lot. I can't get off that. It's like a repeat record, like the needle stuck on a record player. I feel like I feel like it's stuck there. But what I feel is it's time now to grow and experience something new. So what they're suggesting to me is to get very I can see an explorer. So get very start exploring new modalities and spirituality, start exploring new things, new hobbies, new interests, new people. I need to kind of get that. I feel like it's more of a push, and I feel like it's a push to learn new things. I have to get into that space there with you. I don't feel it. I just feel like I've got to explore it. Not everything has to resonate all the time. Doesn't mean that everything is going to taste good out of time all the time. But I feel like the off balance is more of I've put it back into balance, is to learn something new or to try new things. Because I feel like it's like wash, rinse, repeat. I can't take that needle off the record, and that's how they're showing it to me, is the needle is stuck. right? So I don't know if that analogy makes sense to you, Miss Mandy, but that's how I feel it, and that's how they're showing it to me. So to put that back in the balance is to try and with new things, learning new things. So, and it can be very simple as reading new topics. Like it doesn't have to be a great big profound experience. It can be um picking up something new and playing with it, right? If you've never picked up a singing bowl before, pick up a singing bowl and try playing it. I feel like that's what you need is these new things, because this wash, rinse, repeat has got you on that stuck cycle. Um, and much love to you. So, Lana, what connection between me and my recently adopted kitten? I feel like I have a soul contract with him, but I wonder what kind it is. Can you tap into his energy? You know, with every person, with every soul, every animal, with every soul that we meet, we do have some form of soul contracts. They can be this big or they can be this big, right? So, if an hour, or many, many, many years. I feel that there's a big healing, powerful healing energy with this kitten. I feel like this kitten is kind of bringing you into some healing space. So I don't know if you've been through a lot of like I feel it's like heavy, because I feel quite heavy. So I don't know if you've been through a lot of heavy heart or a lot of heaviness, because I feel quite heavy. I feel like that kitten is coming with some healing energy. So I just feel like I have to sit there and just pet, 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 pet. Um, okay, Katie. So Katie has a question here. I want to find out his birthday is today. So let me just scroll back up here, Katie, because find out what kind of energy my brother's birthday has. I'm not quite I don't know if there's more into that. I don't want to scroll too far up into the chat, because then I lose my spot. So if I lean in there to the energy, find out what kind of energy my brother's birthday has. If Katie, I'm not quite sure if you're asking me about like his moon chart or his astrological chart. I'm not quite sure what you're asking me there with the energy. My apologies for not understanding that. When I lean into your brother, though, if I lean into your brother's energy, what I feel there is I feel I almost feel like that mix. I can be very, very serious, or I can be very, very funny. I just feel like there's that, and then there's that. That's kind of how energetically when I tap in there with them. But I'm not quite sure if you're asking me for like his astrological stuff. I'm just not quite clear what you're asking me there. Um, Jolene, always feeling scattered, was just looking up to see my messages from me from spirit of always feeling scattered, was just looking to see if there was any messages for me from spirit or my dad. Um, Jolene, I feel um that you have this deep awareness that perhaps you're struggling to trust, or perhaps but just need reassurance. I feel like your dad is your biggest cheerleader. That I just feel that strength, right? I can feel that strength. And I don't know if you've been having trouble with moving forward on something, because I can feel I've got to remind you that you've got really strong legs. And I mean that in an energetic form of you've got strength to move through. And I feel like your dad has given you a lot of strength to move forward through life. So I need to kind of like he's bringing my awareness to your legs. I'm not quite with this strength within there, and he's encouraging you to lean into that personal strength, and that he is always supporting you and always cheering for you and always rooting for you. But he keeps putting that back into your personal strength. I hope that makes sense there for you, beauty. Um, Katie, that time is definitely very important. I'm glad that resonates there. Never lose your sense of wonder. That is one of my favorite phrases. DDA just got goosebumps. Those spiritual goosebumps. I love that. That is one of my favorite phrases. Cheyenne, eating dinner together with the family. My parents laugh. Or sorry, my parents taught me that that's one of the most important moments of the day with the family. It's one opportunity to bond and catch up with everyone. Absolutely. Absolutely. And depending on schedules, if everybody's on a different schedule, coming up with another time to connect. It's so important. It was hinted. it was hinted at that there'd be a lot of change for me in September. So far, it has been quiet. Has something shifted, or I just don't see it yet? It was hinted at that there'd be a lot of change. Well, September's not over yet, I'll give you that. But I also feel like change can also be within. Change can also be perspective. Change can be energetic. So, has there been any change into that? Has your mindset changed? Has your energy changed? Has there been changes that, change doesn't always have to be so loud and in our face and disruptive. Has there been some personal change? Have you been more open? Has Where's your mindset? Has there been some change in that way? Would be my question over to you. Um, 10, are there any messages for me and my energies today? One thing there with Tin is, Tin, with you, I feel like there's been a bit of a shift of leaning in on growth. I feel like you've been, and I feel like, I don't know, there's a bit of a different energy in your strut. So, and I say that, I chuckle because I'm very proud of you. I feel like there's been, like, are you feeling a bit prouder of yourself today? Are you feeling a little bit lighter? Are you feeling like, yeah, life is life, but I feel like I'm strutting my stuff there in a very loving way. I don't mean it from an ego way. I feel like you're like, yeah, I'm learning. Things are gonna get better. I feel like I've got a strut. So one thing with that, Tin, and I'm having so much fun with that because I love the idea, is strut your stuff today. So when you ask about the energy today, I need you to strut your stuff. And it can be, and I love this. I'm like, I just love this. It can be something as simple as just walking down the hall with, I've got it today. Like I can do this. I feel like I've got to strut your stuff. And I find it very fun, and I find it very loving, and I find it, I think we can all probably try that. I need you to strut your stuff. that I love that. I think it's gonna be important, not just for today, but for ongoing. And it can be like, a very simple words. I'm learning. I've got this. I need you to strut to that energy. Um, yeah. Huh, I think that is really cool. I love that. I'm actually gonna give that a try. And I think we all should. Why don't we give that a try? Why don't we take the advice from Tim's spirit guides, and why don't we try and strut that at some point? Right? I'm learning. I love it so much. Um, see where we need to go here. Always feel the fight or flight. Too many demands. Too many demands. When it comes to demands, and they come at us in from many different perspectives, whether it be home, work, our own personal demands. Insert what I'm doing my best, and I have had to say that to people around me, because sometimes I feel that demand, and I've talked about, was it a week or so ago, about what that peck, peck, peck feeling from other people. I literally felt like a bird, peck, peck, peck. I feel like we need to remind ourselves, I'm doing the best with where I'm standing. And sometimes people do need to hear that. And if they're from the heart space, always go to the heart space. I'm doing the best that I can today. I often get that, just based on social media. I often get the odd email or a message in Messenger with, you didn't get to my question. And I always respond with the hour or the 20 minutes or the 10 minutes that I was on. I did my best to get to as many as I can. Sometimes we do need to put that reminder out when there's so much demands. And the reminder can be for other people, and it can also be a reminder for ourselves. But just come from that heart space, because when we feel any kind of frustration, or we feel we have to voice things, it's okay to say it, but sometimes coming from that heart space, or always from the heart space, sorry, when we come from that heart space, it does have a different energy, and people will receive it better. But sometimes, yeah, the demands are heavy, and we need to acknowledge that we're doing the best that we can. Right? Good. Good. It's interesting you said to watch where your energy is going. Yesterday, my husband and I were arguing over nonsense, and in the middle, I just yelled out, I'm not giving this my energy. Beautiful. I feel that, and like I said earlier in the segment today, I feel we're coming. That was one of the last things I said in the segment is think about what you want to give your energy to. There's gonna be a lot more of that. I really feel we're gonna get louder on that. So, so it may come into your awareness as little spats. It may come in and, those little spats, a little spat energetically can really pull you down. Right. So just kind of I'm not giving that any energy today, right? If it truly doesn't matter, I'm not gonna feed it. I'm not gonna feed it. Watch what you're feeding. And that's one thing that can be really hard to do is pause. And one thing that I have in my household is that sign. So if I give that sign to anybody in my household or anybody that knows me well enough, if I just say like that, that for me, that's we all need time to regroup, recharge, what are we doing here? What are we doing here energetically, right? Give that a go. And sometimes it can be that simple. I've got a few hand signals with people that are in my life. That either encourages them to sit back and observe rather than absorb, or a sign for them to have a personal check-in, and for me it comes back to me too, right? um so we need to go, are the sun and the moon the same in the other side? If you're talking about the spirit dimensions, um, that's a very interesting question. I don't and again, my my experience. So if you're asking me if I'm reading this question right, is there a sun and the moon on the other side? Personally have not seen the sun or the moon when I'm channeling. I do see a lot of light though from the spirit dimension. So I'm not quite sure if I'm understanding that message. I personally have never that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist over there. Now, I have seen when I have channeled or astral traveled into other dimensions, because we are not the only physical world. There is sun and moon and solar systems in different dimensions, but not when I'm channeling over into the spirit dimensions where our deceased loved ones are, or into the dimensions where the angelics are. I have never seen a sun or a moon. But if when I have astraled into other physical world dimensions and into uh, um other spaces, I have seen sun, moon, and stars. So I hope that makes sense to you. I hope I'm reading that question right. um Diane, I keep thinking things are going to blow up in society and here at work. Like something big has to happen in order to move on. We've been going through that space for quite a while, and even back in time. So when you think about, and I'm going to pull in for a moment. This is a really big topic, and I won't. I'll try not to spend too much time on it. But when you think about history, and when you think about how things repeat when we, as a collective, because we are here collectively, are not learning a lesson, right? So when we're not learning to treat each other well, like that gets louder and louder. When I have sat and done a lot of channeling with what's coming, there is a huge shift coming. Is it going to be bumpy? Yes, but I feel the spiritual end of it stepping forward, because I feel there's going to be a big calling for healers, for energy workers. I feel there's going to be a big calling collectively. I've been really pulled into my communities, forming communities of support. I don't feel it as terrible. Is there going to be? There's always been events, because the source energy is saying, look what's not working, look what's not working, look what's not working. The other part of that is there are some things that we cannot control, but we can control how we respond to it. I refuse to listen to any fear. I refuse to feed that energetic. There's a collective group that's feeding a lot of fear, right? Fear creates things. Fear creates things, and I refuse to live in that. And I also want to be on the other side of that. I want to be on the side of light and healing and support. That's kind of where I navigate through. So I don't feed into it. Whatever lessons we are here to learn, we are going to go through it, and how we go through it is what's significant for me. That's just my perspective on it. Okay. I feel a lot of excitement, to be honest with you. I truly do, and I have sat with it many times, because there are many different theories about what's coming and what's happening, and a lot of it is fear based. And spirit keeps pulling me out of that. Nope, this is where we're sitting. Nope, this is where we're sitting. So watch what you feed, right? Watch what you feed. Oh, do, do, do. I think I'm pulled to, oh, here's Kyle. I'm gonna read Kyle's. I struggle with feeling good enough. I know it's holding me back in life, especially in this moment. I need guidance to find strength in my self-value at the moment. Kyle, I'd like you to try. I'm not sure when you posted that if you were on when I was talking about that strut. I really like that. I can't even say that without wanting to strut myself. I feel I feel like you need to give that a try, and I think you need to make that part of your spiritual practice with this whole good enough and being good enough for you. Right, feeling all those that good energy within you, strutting that stuff. I really think that spirit gave us something big and delicious to tap into today. I really feel that. And part of me is like, I don't want to say eager to lead the life, but a part of me is like, yeah, I'm doing that as soon as we're done here. I feel I feel like you need to give that a try and insert it as part of your spiritual practice, even if it's like I'm going to do my best today and strutting it and the vibration of fun. Spirit is always having fun. I have my biggest belly laughs when I'm channeling and when I'm working with spirit because that's the energy that they're in. Right? They that's where they are at. So kind of tap into that a little bit more. I know there's still quite a bit of questions here that I have not tapped into. Um, Diane Quinn, that is very comforting because I too refuse to let certain things affect me. Mm. A lot of what's happening though, and I'm just gonna go back into that for a minute. A lot of what's happening is not new. Right? Different theme, different leaders, but a lot of it's not new, and it's the repeat of the lessons. We know it's amplified because we have social media. We no longer have the dial phone or the newspaper print. We no longer send telegrams to give updates. But a lot of what's going on in the world is repeat lessons. Repeat lessons. So, we will navigate through them, right? And where and how and some of it, I mean, some of it, one thing that I'll always ask myself, the only change I can be is to stand in the light. That's the only change I can be, right? So there we are. And I am going to go collectively to the Spirit Animal Guidebook. As time is marching on here. So I'm just going to ask, let's just all set the intention to ask what do we need to hear today? So what do we need collectively to hear? And as I'm reading that, don't forget your big thumbs up today. Okay, we're on the beaver. This is a time for purposeful and directed activity, not contemplation or procrastination. Balance. What do we talk about in the first part of the segment? Balance your activities by providing time for resting and socializing with family and friends. Be especially aware of wasting time. You can't. I'm serious. Okay. If anybody who wants to look it up, go look that up. Be especially aware of wasting time, energy, and resources on unimportant matters. Don't be busy for busy's sake. Let your actions. I'm trying. I can't even get through this with a straight face. Okay, where was I? Let your actions be focused and intentional. It's time to change your environment in a way that makes you feel more secure and comfortable. Ah, so when you think about what I talked about with balance in Libra season, think about what you want to give your energy to. And that is exactly, oh my gosh. I'll read it again because I know I kind of chopped it up there. This is a time for purposeful and directed activity, not contemplation or procrastination. Balance your activities by providing time for resting and socializing with family and friends. Be especially aware of wasting time, energy, and resources on unimportant matters. Don't be busy for busy's sake. Let your actions be focused and intentional. It's time to change your environment in a way that makes you feel more secure and comfortable. Well, spirit has spoken today. I love it. I did a reading yesterday. Let me just tap back into this. I did a reading yesterday, and I had a moment where and I do this all the time. I don't know why I access. I've been doing this for many, 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 many years, and Every single day, even yesterday was a big one. It was a really big one on how powerful spirit is and the validation and what we need, what we need to hear, we always get, right? Is kind of where we go. And even after all these years of doing what I do, I still have that, that is it surprised? It's kind of like that funny chuckle with, yeah, yeah, of course. Of course. So that's where we are at. Um, Thumbs up if you enjoyed spending the last 50 minutes with me. I'm working on some scheduling stuff. I'm eager to put some stuff out. The last final days to vote for me on the Readers' Choice Awards is coming up. I think it's the 25th of September. If you haven't yet voted, if you head over to my website, thehawkandI.com, as soon as you log in, there's a vote button there. I'd be grateful for your support and your love. As always, love, light, blessings, and have a spirit guided day. Take care.